Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome back to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a bit about my last week in games. And as always, we'll start with EVE Online, where I spent most of my time focusing on the Winter Nexus in order to get my 900 points and the entire reward track for the event. I did most of that running the combat sites as expected. You guys saw how easy it actually is in the rattlesnake. And a couple of you guys mentioned that, well, do you really want to use a drone boat there, because you do have to do a little bit of drone management. But I'll be honest, once we got the ball rolling, the tactic worked absolutely perfectly. Use a more tanky faction drone in order to handle the first wave, then switch to DPS drones and add in the missiles on the battleship. And I lost one drone because I forgot to do the switch, and yeah, that battleship does do a lot of damage when it actually focuses right away on one of the drones. So it was always about battleship comes in. When I don't have drones on the field, then I switch to the DPS drones while it's targeting me, and that way we never had a problem, except for that one mistake. But it was mostly just not paying enough attention that caused me problems, because I also forgot to click the claim reward several more times. That made going through the reward track a little bit longer than it actually needed to be. But overall, I think that for me at least, this event does strike the right balance. It's actually grindable if you don't want to spend time on it every single day. The sites themselves are very quick. So you can decide on maybe half an hour a day, or like me, you can decide, all right, now I'm going to spend an hour, 1.5 hours, try and make some real progress, and then just pace yourself any way you want. It's all possible for the event. Perhaps getting to the storms can be a little bit more of a problem than what I experienced, because I either got storms in SSAMA itself or 1 to 2 jumps out. So it's very, very easy and quick for me to find a couple of these sites. There was some competition, but not too much of it. I guess that there were enough sides there that we all respected when someone else was in the site first. That's basically how I always went by it. And on several occasions I was running a site, someone else came in Marauders and other ships, and they just warped off to the next one. So it was all good for us there in a Mars space. Perhaps in busier spaces things can become a little bit more hectic, but overall quite nice. Now, getting in on it on the first weekend before the first week patch did seem to make a difference, because I do feel like I got way more drops in the first part of me running the sites than in the latter part of me running the sites, which was most of this week. But overall, you still got quite a few more ISK rewards that were alright for the time invested in high sec. So I'm pretty happy with what I've done there, and I might even run a couple more over the next few weeks just to get more ISK, because it is decently rewarding, especially when it's right next to your station, when you can just undock, do a couple of these combat sites, dock back up. For that amount of time spent, it's even better than exploration and getting lucky on a couple of drops. Now, I also did a little bit of exploration next to that, because that's even more passive, I would say, than the White Storm stuff. Just exploring a little bit for the sites, but also running some anomalies like the refuges, like the dens, looking and hoping for some escalations. And there I can just plonk down my Ishtar, let the drones do all the work, call them back, let the salvage drones do their work, and move on to the next site. It's not very rewarding ISK-wise, of course, but it is very passive when I don't have a lot of energy. So that's something that I did a little bit as well. Then for the blueprint copies, we are continuing to make our BPCs, trying to sell them. Again, Dreadnought, carrier BPCs not doing too well. Freighters, Orcas actually starting to pick up a little bit, and then structures do still seem to be doing alright. So that's what I'm focusing on at the moment, making another batch of freighter BPCs, Orca BPCs, and adding in a couple of structure BPCs. It's still rolling quite nicely. I think it is decent passive income for the amount of effort that I'm putting in. Once every 10 days or so, I basically have to remake the jobs, and then I bring everything to the market, and I can usually try to sell another 15, 16 contracts at that point. So I feel like it's going well, and we're definitely going to continue that. I might switch it up a little bit more, because one of the metrics for the end of year video were how many unique BPCs did you make, so perhaps I'll try to do better on that metric next year, but we will see. overall, of course, the larger BPCs are the ones that'll make you most ISK as well. On the PI front, yeah, coolants selling really well, so those are making me a little bit of ISK there as well. The other stuff actually not doing that badly, but I'm still hoarding partly my PI as well. As I've always said, I don't want to spook the market by bringing everything straight into the sell orders. That would just crash everything. But coolants is definitely something that I'm selling slowly, and that is making a decent ISK at the moment. And then overall, when it comes to what I'm looking forward to, when it comes to EVE Online and my expectations, I should probably say, I don't expect too much honestly before FanFest. Perhaps CCP will surprise us, but again, it's the first FanFest that we'll have in Iceland normally, right? Always have to wait and see. You never know how things develop in the real world, but let's assume for now that we will get a FanFest in April. I do think that CCP is hoping to basically get some cool stuff on the board for FanFest itself. Should probably see a live stream of that, and honestly, between now and FanFest, I'm not expecting too much. Plex are pretty high, but are hesitating to make one-year high points, so I'm not sure if it's the right time to be selling them, but perhaps a little bit of Plex selling for me personally might be on the books there as well. But I am looking forward to whatever CCP develops next. Of course, the changes to compression so that that becomes available on the Orca is something that I want to see and that I'll probably explore as well. But right now I don't have any major plans for EVE Online because, well, we don't really know where the game is heading at the moment, and it might be until FanFest until we know more. That means I still got a little bit of time for some more Halo Infinite, a little bit more intermittent than in the last couple of weeks. On a couple of evenings I just went in for a couple of big team battles. It's still a lot of fun, but what I've also noticed, that's a little bit weird, all of a sudden I am getting some technical issues. I'll be honest, that's a little bit frustrating. When you want to play a Halo match, it tries to connect for a minute, then it just disconnects you from the server, or you start loading, it just doesn't stop. I even had one where I joined into a match, got completely glitched out, you know, was stuck somewhere on the map where I couldn't see or do anything, so I had no choice but to fully restart my PC. It is the first week where I experienced those kinds of problems, but I did want to mention that I had them while I still managed to get a couple of games in on a few of the evenings. This is not very motivating, of course, that when you want to play the game, you know, runs into these types of technical problems, and then, you know, I just switch over to something else at that point. So unfortunately, yeah, the first few glitches and problems for Halo Infinite that have started to sap my personal enjoyment of the game and my motivation to keep going. So I did buy something else during a Steam sale. There will be more on that coming next week, but it is the last expansion for the Elder Scrolls Online. So on that one, definitely looking forward to sharing some videos, some of the stuff that I've done there, but won't be starting that in during this Sunday recap. But yeah, the switch from Halo Infinite to a new game, which will be the Elder Scrolls Online, has definitely started this week. And yeah, that was basically my last week in games, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.